अस्सलाम वालेकुम व्यूअर्स, NLPmantra.com की तरफ से मोहम्मद अली एक मरतबा फिर आपके सामने हाजिर खिदमत है। ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ NLPmantra.com, आई वेलकम यू वंस अगेन to a great ilmi बैठक on happiness Thursdays, happiness talks. Happiness is what we are all about, and actually happiness is what we have been talking about every Thursday. And you know why Thursdays are important, especially why we chose Thursday to be the happiness day, because it is start of a weekend, right? So it's why not to have a happy weekend, and then when the week ends we'll even have a happy week. So before I go further, uh, for us, this week we have a very special guest, and I'm going to bring first my, as usual, partner in crime, Rehan Naeem. Rehan, assalamu alaikum. And,
Walaikum assalam, Ali.
and then I'm going to bring our special guest, Larissa Radeli. Larissa, how are you?
Hello, everyone. Very nice to be with you. From Dubai, live.
Excellent, Larissa. Excellent. This is the beauty of this lockdown system or the new world order, that we can be with each other at any time, at any place, and whenever only we have to will. And that's what I tell everybody. It is not what you go through; it is what you will to do. So if you will to be happy, you will be happy. So, Larissa, for my audience, I would like you to please introduce yourself. Uh, as I am excitingly, waiting to hear your stories. But first, we would like to hear your introduction so that audience can know you.
I am been working 28 years in global leadership positions around the world, basically in hospitality in the beginning of my life. And then I decided to do what I am purposefully here in this world to do, which is coaching and training people, helping them find purpose in their life and meaning. And I've been doing that for the past 15 years around the globe. I am just now about to issue my second book, which is typically about your topic, which is called The Happydemic. Happydemic, living and spreading sustainable happiness. So I'm telling my story. It's an autobiography, telling the whole story of my life to share that, each one of us goes through setbacks, through traumas, through tough challenges and hard moments. And our topic today is perfect for me because I believe I am the queen of resilience. And then when you will ask me about my story, you will know why. So I'm really very excited to be with you here to be able to share all this. So thank you for your invitation.
Excellent. Welcome. It's pleasure is ours, Larissa. And let Rehan, let us, what we'll do this time is, let us give a brief summary of the two episodes to our audience, and as well as for Larissa, so they know that what we have discussed. I will start, and Rehan, probably you can chip into that. Viewers, we started
Sure.
our happiness journey with defining what is happiness. That was our first episode, and then we moved on last week, which was the second week. We talked about the impact of COVID-19 on happiness. Ryan, I think this brief is enough, or do you want to add something?
No, I think if you remember, when we were defining happiness, we were talking about that it is not about being happy all the time. It is about becoming resilient to unhappiness, and this is why this third session was, specifically titled as developing resilience, because the idea is not to be happy. The idea is that when you become unhappy, how quickly can you bounce back from the situation? So that is what we covered, Larissa, in the first one. In the second one, we were talking about the impact that people have. What sort of impact are people having in their lives and their performance at work during the pandemic? How is it causing them to not be able to perform? How is it causing them to be more emotionally strained, be more stressed? And then we spoke about how can we counterattack some of those impacts. And today we'll focus more on how to build resilience for the impact that people are having on their happiness because of the current situation.
Absolutely. So my two lovely guests. My first question to both of you. In fact, I will let Larissa take it first. What is resilience? The word. What does it mean? Especially we have the queen of resilience with us.
You liked this title, didn't you?
Loved it.
For
I love your glasses also, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Here you go. I can give it to you virtually from here. In my opinion, resilience is definitely an emotional strength. It's a skill we learn, or some people have it very easily or naturally because they are look at life in a different way or different lenses. And some people really need to learn the skills to become resilient. For me, it's really the power of this journey within when you stop and you hush all this noise around you and you start concentrating on getting and listening to your body feedback and emotional feedback and thinking feedback. And whenever things are not working the way you want and you feel stressed or unhappy or overwhelmed or any negative emotions, anger, fear, strong or devastating emotions, you start looking at ways of coping in order for you to extrapolate from this negative emotion strength to face and overcome it in order for you to be living happier and recovering. So when you stack these resilience events or this resilience coping strategies, whenever you feel you are going to fall, you have a lot in your hand to be able to bounce back and stand on your feet again. So that's for me, in few words,
Excellent.
resilience.
Excellent. Rehan, what would you add to it?
Man, I would actually start, talking about it with, before I actually get on to resilience. I would actually like to define what resilience is. So I don't know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So, in simple words, the dictionary, how does it define resilience? It is an ability to recover from an or adjust easily to misfortune or any change, right? And in simple
Mhm.
words, I always say it is the ability to quickly bounce back from a situation. So you've had, a particular interaction with a situation. How quickly can you bounce back from that situation? That is how I can simplify this particular definition, which is an ability to recover from or adjust easily from any situation. That to me is what resilience is all about.
Excellent. Excellent. So, Larissa, before we move on to resilience, you know, I don't call myself a motivational speaker. I don't call myself a happiness coach. I don't call all these fancy terms. I always call myself very simply a storyteller. So, and I love to tell stories and I love to hear stories. So, why don't we start with your story? Because you have, I think, if not, I'm not wrong, once, twice, or probably thrice very near death experiences.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's start with your.
So let's have a story. Actually, I have several ones, but I want to concentrate on the near death ones because we are three of us and I don't want to take time from your other speakers. So I am Swiss Lebanese born and I was raised up and grew up in Lebanon. And as you are aware, in Lebanon, we have lived uncertainty and war for very long years, actually all my childhood. And I grew up in this for 18 years of my life. The two first near-death episodes happened in Lebanon, actually, when I was around between 16 and 18 years old. The first one was I was driving in a road and I had a car bomb just two cars in front of me. So can you imagine a car full of explosives and you are just two cars behind it and everything in a matter of a second is just complete chaos, complete darkness and complete death around you. And actually I thought I was dead, but I was just like touching myself, seeing if I'm still alive because everything around me didn't give any sign of life. So, but I didn't understand at that time when I went through it. Actually, I was very grateful that I was still alive. Nevertheless, I didn't analyze the situation because I was still very young to understand the reason why I am still here. The second episode was some time after that, where when a bomb fell, and I just was not far away from it, and actually I lost my friend, and I was again a survivor. I just had some fragments in my body. Again, another near-death episode. I always favored or valued, if you want, the attention to the other people and helping others, being happy and satisfied with their lives, trying to be of help to people. I've always been like that since childhood. So this message was always in the back of my mind. Am I here for a reason that is in this area of the life? But then I went through life as everybody else. You do your university, you grow up, you become a mother, you travel around the world, you take leadership positions and so forth. And you tend to just not forget, but put it aside for a while. Until 2 years ago, in July 2018, I had a terrible car accident in Italy. I fell off a cliff. And while I was falling off that cliff, in the middle of the night where there was no light whatsoever, all noises I could hear was only just the car that was compacting and the silence of the night and my heartbeat that were feeling them in my head. And what I was saying to myself at this particular moment, oh my God, I don't want to die. Oh my God, please, I don't want to die. I haven't seen my son. I haven't kissed my other son goodnight. And all these thoughts of please, I still have to do something. And just to cut the story short, the way I went out of this car was impossible from a human to get out of this car. I fell off this cliff and landed in a river, upside down. And the only possible way out was the passenger's window, which was broken, and there was very little space for me to get out of this car. I did, with all the power, resilience, whatever you want to name it, and I came out of that car. And after that was the wake-up call, oh, wait a minute. What is there for me to learn? What am I not doing right in my life? And it was a very bad time in my life at that moment. We were going through many challenges, financially, work-wise. It was like these series of events. And here and then, my inner voice that always was there put me on this track. Do we really have to arrive to a near-death experience to understand how important and essential our life is? How important happiness is? And this is why my story became my book, and this is where I'm heading for, to deliver this message. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Larissa, this is so inspiring. But you know what? What you just said, we covered in the previous sessions as well. Actually, it's a fact. Unfortunately, we humans have to come and experience these near-death experiences, or the COVID issues that we're currently facing, for us to realize that happiness is not in the material things that we've been thinking about. The myth of happiness today is being broken because of this situation, that it is not money that makes you happy. It is not the kind of house that you want to live in that makes you happy, the best of the job that you have that makes you happy. It is beyond that. It comes back to your purpose, your meaning in life, the values that you live with in life. So this is the time for realization. And if we do not realize this right now, we will be in a much deeper problem, and dragging us. We'll need a more severe, God forbid, pandemic to pull us out of it.
A big shock.
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, because like just now, before we started this live, I before I actually went on the show, I just got a message that one of my very dear friends, he expired due to COVID about an hour ago, and I didn't even know that he had COVID. I mean, I've been hearing about it for a lot of people that they're dying. Uh, Although I've been letting people know that it's not the COVID that's going to kill people, it's the fear and the anxiety that has been. But when, as Rehan said as well, that when we actually have a really near dear one gone, that is probably the only wake up call we have for us. And why would that be, Larissa? What do you think? Why do we have to wait for that moment?
Listen, I think it has a lot to do with the way you communicate with yourself. I don't know if you have spoken about this before in your previous episodes, but when I take NLP, and I see you are an NLP person as well, if we look at the NLP model of communication, where it says that our thoughts automatically lead or give emotions, and the emotions will be on our body language, and then we will act, give results, do actions or reactions, and so forth. Okay, so what I want to say here is, how aware are we about our inner way of thinking, our deeper self, not the ego self. You know, we have so
Yes.
many I inside ourselves. So when Rehan was speaking about people focusing on things and thinking that by possessing things, happiness comes. Yes, it's a moment happiness. I don't know if it's the happiness by
It's a
possessing
joy.
it or the happiness by the fact that you bought it and then again it's off. Definitely it's in the meaning. Nevertheless, I give this analogy. You like storytelling. I give the analogy of our mind as a ship, right? Where you have a captain and a crew on that ship. Who drives the ship? Is it the captain or the crew? I say it's the captain, and I think you both agree, which is our conscious
Yes.
mind, which is the thinking mind, the mind that is giving us the awareness, the focus, the alertness. The crew, which is our unconscious mind, is that it's this box that gives us all the resources, the learning, the habits, and so our emotions, our creativity, intuition, and so forth. When it's not working is when the captain and the crew are not aligned and they are not communicating well together. And I give you the simple example of my accident. I dreamt about it 2 weeks before it happened. I saw it. The moment I was driving, I was being told by my mind, don't go there, keep on going straight. I ignored it. I ignored again the message. While I was doing the reverse, again, don't reverse. So I had so many signals from my inner deeper self that was telling me, wait, 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 you shouldn't be doing that. And I ignored that even though I'm a coach. So that is to tell you that those who think that it is something that is you learn and you become a master of it, I don't think we learn every day about resilience, and we learn every day of how to communicate with each other. So in my opinion, awareness is so deep. This link within yourself has to go at such a deep level that you know everything about yourself. It's an inner journey that is a daily work, not ignoring the feedback that you have from your mind, be it by thoughts or dreams, your inner voice, and your emotions, which are the biggest feedback of your thoughts. So that's my opinion, where things sometimes don't take us to the right direction is the fact that we are so unaware about what's going on deeply.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a question for you, Larissa, and
Tell
you
me.
know, I'm asking this question because the story that you narrated, linking it to resilience, and knowing you from before, you know, I see you as a more stronger. I see you as a more, the way you're communicating, you know, what you're communicating, the knowledge levels that you have, you know, from when we met 2.5 years ago last time, and now I see a huge difference. So the question that I have is that when you had these moments where you faced near the moments that you had, uh, generally after that, people, it is difficult for people to come out of that depressive state. It is difficult for people to come out of that situation, keep thinking about it. And one of the biggest things, because of what you just said, what people do is, why me, why did this happen to me, you know, why does it always happen to me? So, you know, how much time did it take you for you to bounce back from, you know, that moment and the afterthoughts of that moment, uh, to the strong person that I see right now?
I tell you two things. The first thing is that you're again invited to get out of your comfort zone, which means you need to do something about what went wrong. So you need to think over uh, stating why it happened, because you need to understand why it happened, but not focus on the why and be the victim. Actually, it's to move from this why and understand what was the learning from that experience in order for you to find the solution to bounce back and find the
Absolutely.
strategy or the behavior. It can be a behavior, it can be a thought, it can be a different way of behaving, thinking, acting. So you have to define a certain strategy. For that, the time depends on people. In my case, it took me, first of all, at least 3 days to understand what happened. You know, like, again, it is the third time.
The aftershock.
The third time I am in front of this death episode. So there is definitely something I need to understand. So that I had to do lots of meditation, lots of silence. And it's not easy when you went through such a traumatic situation. So I had to, first of all, let the pain come out. So I cried as much as I had to cry. I went through the crying. So I had crying days. Then I had anger days because I didn't understand why it happened again and what's the message. And I had so many thoughts coming in my mind. So I had to do some cleaning and clearing and calming down. So mindfulness, relaxation, then understand and reanalyze the messages I had received before and understand why didn't I perceive them and work on them. What learning did I have? Is that I didn't trust my crew at that time, maybe. I underestimated my crew. So again, it gave me the lesson that we have all the resources we need within. And we are so much busy looking for the resources outside, whilst we have most of them, if not all of them, in our own mind. It's just a question of digging, hushing the chaos and getting into your toolbox that I call this hard disk of ours, which is the unconscious mind, getting memories, moments where I fought things and how did I find them? What type of coping strategy did I use? Is it a strategy that had to do with my values? Did I have to re-elicit my values? Re-identify my values? Did they change? Did I forget or didn't reprioritize things in my life? What was very important at this particular moment? So there was a work of values, there was a work of beliefs, there was a work of maybe some negative errors, thinking errors I was having at that time. What did I have to replace them by which constructive thoughts? Or the type of emotion? What is the strength within this negative emotion that I need to learn? From anger, what did I learn? What did this anger give me as learning? The first thing or the two things I did is forgive, because this is very important. After you are grateful because you're still here and you appreciate how lucky really we are when we face such things, and lucky without facing such things that we are alive, actually. This is a miracle to be in this world.
Wally,
The second thing is to forgive.
This is resilience. What she's talking about, this is what resilience is.
Yeah,
The effort, and I wanted to basically hear this because this defines, in practical terms, what we have been talking about in terms of the definition of resilience.
And
how can you
Rehan,
bounce back? How much time you take to bounce back from the adverse situation?
It takes
one
time.
point that I one point that I want my viewers to understand, and a lot of things that Larissa has said, which are very important, but the most important point here, especially for those who always play self-victim, Larissa used the word "I forgave."
But who
I
you
think
forgive?
first
First thing you forgive is yourself.
forgive yourself. Absolutely.
Because
a lot of us
you had at that moment, that's for sure.
Because if you do not forgive yourself, you will never be able to dig out the resources. Never. Because you will put a small curtain and then that curtain will become a bigger curtain and then it will become a wall or a brick rock. That is going to stop you entering and digging in that. And this is, even today, just like about 4 hours ago, I received a message from somebody and she said, are you a psychiatrist? I said, no, I'm not. She said, but you are lying then. I said, where did I lie? She said, because I remember I do my personality traits with a psychiatrist from UK. I'm doing a session on different personality disorders and types. So she took that cutting and she sent to me and said, this says you are a psychiatrist. I said, but I am not Samad Hashmi. I am Muhammad Ali. No, you should be the same person. I said, why should I be? And then I said, okay, you tell me, what do you want? Then she said, my husband left me. I am deserted. and I am a bad person. I don't deserve to be in this world, probably. That's why everybody is leaving me. My parents have left me. So, will you help me? I said, of course, I will help you. But of course, I need to know your name. I need to know where you are from. What is the issue going on? And she said, these are not important, because if you know about me, you will also not be able to forgive me. Now, this is what is important.
The story, the
One person.
narration, and the belief that she
Yes,
had.
Yeah. And at this
absolutely.
point, I would like to introduce a concept called, you guys might have come across this, called the Stockdale paradox. Ali, if you could share the slide that I've,
Yes,
put it back
please.
on, I'd like to quickly talk about it and, share this. Uh, the Stockdale paradox, again, the story behind this is very simple. During the time the Americans and the Vietnamese were having a war, one of these fighters was caught and taken as a prisoner of war. His name was Stockdale, and he basically went in to the jail and spent a few years over there, and he was quite positive that he will be towards the end able to meet the family. He had a very strong observation, which then Jim Collins in his book The Good to Great, he has actually narrated and called it the Stockdale paradox. Said there were three kinds of people that he came across. Ones that basically had said, this is the end of life. I'm going to die here. Nothing better is going to happen to me. That's it. My life is ended over here. So this is my destiny now. Whatever happens to me is my destiny. The others were the ones who thought, no, no, you know what? We will get out of this situation. One day we will go back home. We will get back to our families, and we basically will be, fine. Right? According to him, both of these were actually finally depressed. You know why? Because there was another third lot which was more successful, and they were happier, and they basically succeeded in leaving the jail and getting out of the jail and going back to their families. And you know what the reason behind that was? They accepted reality. They were not just
Yes,
optimistic about we will one day get home. They basically accepted the reality that we're in a situation right now, and then they basically started building the resilience. What is it that we can do to get out of this situation? Yeah. So the
absolutely.
basics of the Stockdale paradox, which basically is up there, is confront and accept the adversity, the problems, the situation, the downside of what you're facing. First, you've got to accept that, and at the same time, be optimistic about it. But what resilience is the actual action plan that you set to move from this direction to the other direction.
Absolutely,
I would
Rehan.
I would add
And
on this one, sorry, I would add on this
okay.
one is that about a part of accepting their reality or accepting what's going on, if we already have this belief that life is full of challenges and we will go through these yin and yang, which is happiness, sadness, anger, and all these opposites of emotions, and have this mentality already of acceptance, and that is life is changed already day and night, seasons, hours. Everything is moving, everything is in a change movement, yeah, moving forward. So the moment we have this mindset as well and we build on it, it's much easier to become resilient. But if we resist what is or what is happening, this is where we will have a lot of difficulties to move out of our comfort zone. If I can may just add on this one, the to
Please.
on your Stockdale paradox is the cause to effect equation. The difference between the people that stay in the effect, which is the consequence of an event, and cry and dwell on their negative emotions and dwell or complain, victimize, blame others, blame themselves, blame the situation, accuse, excuse, everything that is definitely not going to put them forward, are those who are going to find always the reasons why they will not succeed, or why they are not happy, or why they cannot become resilient. So, and they will do whatever it takes to prove themselves they're right. And they have secondary gains for it, maybe, or maybe because of they're not taught or haven't got the training for it. So the power of resilience or the power of the move and the change only happens when you decide to stop nagging and complaining and being on this why victimized victim of your history place and move into the pioneer of the situation and say, what can I do or how can I make this change happen? I put myself at cause and I take the responsibility of this event to learn and look at, do I need to take a strategy based on working on an emotional side, or is it a thought that I need to do? Is it an action plan, steps, people who can help me? This is how you can make resilience happen. As you said, Rehan, strategy and action plan. But before, you need to change this mindset of yours from the crier and victim of the universe to the pioneer and the creator of his destiny. And
Absolutely.
that's a work.
And that's exactly the
Absolutely,
first
Larissa.
part. And that's
Yeah,
exactly the first part of the equation was constant, check on the reality, accept the reality. This is the current situation that I'm in, and then you move on. Instead of
And
actually
that's
remember
why.
saying,
one thing,
I am
it's
the
not,
victim, you basically say the
yeah,
situation is this. I need to basically, these are the action plan, this is my strategy,
Rehan,
this is how I will
Rehan,
overcome that.
let me add just one part here.
Yes,
One very interesting thing that
very
I do
interesting
with
question.
a lot of my clients is when they come and they start telling me their story, because Larissa knows that in NLP we say NLP is process based, content free. No matter what content you put, I don't need to listen to your stories, right? However, we do listen out of courtesy. So when they start the story and they start crying, and then I keep quiet, and they're crying and crying and crying. And when they are a little bit sober, I ask them, "Are you done with crying?" I said, "Yes." Can we find a solution now? Because if crying is going to help you, then cry as much as you can fill the whole building. But if that doesn't actually bring the solution, let's now focus on what
It
you are capable of.
And crying, as we
Because
covered in the previous session as well, it actually blocks the non-dominant side of your brain. So your brain, is shut down,
and the more you
and
cry,
you're
you
thinking.
attract more of it. Remember the law of attraction. So the more you dwell, the more you cry, the more you are negative, the more you will attract events that are in the same because you're projecting it and you will attract what your mind is projecting. And I can tell you
energy,
one thing. I love this one. I don't know if you can see it.
We
yeah,
I'm
can, we
saying
can.
the
it's okay.
people
Yeah,
that
it's okay.
speak about their reality, which is here, my reality, that is
Yeah.
your reality. But is it really the reality? Big question.
No,
Because when people come to you, or when people find themselves in these challenging situations, it's the end of the world to them because they are in their own problem and they think that that is the reality. There's nothing else. But the moment they just open their eyes and they become alert and conscious that there's so much around them that they can dwell into to get out of this situation, it's only a question of changing their view and their perspective and opening their eyes on other things and getting out, detaching. I call it detaching or dissociating. Identification, disidentification from this I or feeling or emotion. Getting out as if you're observing yourself as a witness or an observer from an external part, and you're saying, okay, this is how I need to do things. So you detach from the emotion and you are more reasoning and thinking for a solution rather than excusing and crying and
Yeah.
finding,
And in today's world,
absolute,
what
absolute.
and in today's world, what Larissa spoke about before, there's a very interesting, question that has come up from, one of the
Yes,
viewers, and we'd like to address that because Larissa, we do these sessions and try and take as many questions as possible. But in this current situation, the new normal, which is going to be the abnormal, post COVID as well. What Larissa said, simplify. I cannot simplify it further than this: that the ability to unlearn, relearn, that's what it is all about. How can you
yes,
unlearn about
and you
your
can relearn.
reality? And we spoke about this in the previous session, that even
Absolute.
our reality is actually a perception.
Yes, of course. Because if
you
I
know
am wearing
and
a glass with a moon on the top, I will always see the moon wherever I'm going, and that's what we all are
Absolutely.
doing.
Absolutely.
So,
So, detaching yourself, like she said, de-identifying yourself, like she said, in simple terms. And I think people should write this down, that if they want to be resilient, if they want to be successful in the post-COVID environment, at work, in their relationships, in at home, wherever, they have to learn how to unlearn and relearn. Unlearn, relearn,
Absolutely.
unlearn, relearn. And that is what resilience is all about. How quickly can you unlearn something? How
So,
quickly can you
so let
learn something?
Rehan, let's go to this question. Larissa,
And
this
this is a
question I'll
very,
put it to you.
yeah, I think let's put it to her first, and then I'll take this one up because this is a very interesting question. And I know, I think I know how to answer this. So, Larissa,
Let's see because this is from a woman, so let's let a woman answer that first.
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Please
absolutely.
describe long distance relationship. How can we overcome misunderstandings and how can we make a relationship more beautiful? And the second part is that in this situation, how can we make a relation source of happiness?
Very interesting. The first thing I will start with is, do you share the same values? Which means, based on what the relationship is it a relationship that is between a couple or a relationship between friends? There are different ways of looking at it. I definitely start by looking at the values, what's important to me in this relationship, and ask the other person what's important to that person in this relationship. And then we analyze, where are we having the quacks in our relationship? Is it a question of communication? Am I maybe asking the person or expecting too much of the person and I'm not wording my expectations? Is the person aware of what is going in my mind? Or am I just, creating scenarios and putting the blame on the other person because I'm expecting something that the person is not giving me, but the person doesn't know I want this thing. So each one of us is on a different planet. So definitely I will work on the values. Definitely I will work on the expectations, what you expect from the other person. And if misunderstanding is happening, is definitely to talk about it. So what went wrong in this? Each person takes the responsibility again to the cause and effect, rather than that it's the other person's fault, because this is the first defensive. It's not me, it's him, or it's not me, it's her. So the first thing to do is, even if you don't think you have a fault in this, we all in NLP, we say we're 100% in charge of our communication. So if I communicated
Of
something
course.
and the other person is telling me something differently, or the feedback of the other person is not what I'm expecting, so there's an issue with my communication. Maybe it's not what I said, but maybe it's how I said it, or maybe there are so many things I need to look at. So these are the three areas I will start working on with. And tolerance. Tolerance and forgiveness should be part of rebuilding a relationship always. That is my opinion. Now, sometimes you realize that this relationship isn't healthy to you. It's a toxic relationship on the run. Meaning by that, if the person is not coachable, if the person doesn't want to make change, if the person is not aware, because you're trying to work with the person and they don't want to change, then it's difficult to build this relationship. So then it's up to you to decide, because that's what I learned with my 2 years experience now after my accident, in terms of people. Yeah, before I wanted everybody was welcome in my life. Today I choose who is welcome in my life, be it in business or in my relations. I don't want to have toxic people around me anymore if they don't want to make change and, like, live healthily. I'm not saying that they cannot have their negative emotions. That's fine, but not abruptly, like, go around and just spread this hatred, anger, jealousy on others, and expecting people to be with them when they don't want to look. So there are some toxic people then that you need to remove from your circle. Sometimes they don't want to do it by willing to harm you. They do it sometimes to protect you, thinking they are protecting you. Like sometimes our family do. Oh, don't do this because you might get this as a result. I wouldn't do this if I was you. Sometimes when you are in change process, you need to surround yourself with people who are going to lift you high, people who are going to walk with you in the path of this change, and they can give you guidance, like we are the three of us now, exchanging our experiences and our competencies to move forward. This is where great change happens.
Excellent, Larissa. Rehan, what would be
Man,
your advice?
my advice is going to be very simple. I think Larissa said that. I'm actually going to put this in a very simple way. One is, I'm going to use a word that basically is the biggest problem in any relationship. and then I'm actually going to explain, how that becomes a problem in every relationship. And the word is expectation,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Now let me put it. Let me give a scenario. Now in this situation, let's say, distance relationship. Let's say, it's not a long term distance relationship. Let's say one of your spouse is traveling. So let's say the
Yes.
husband is traveling for work to Europe, and the expectation that now the wife has is that it's a 6 hour flight. He is going to get there. He will get to the airport, and as soon as he lands, he'll probably send me a WhatsApp or a text, and or say, that I'm fine, I've reached, everything is all right. Now let's look at this. This is an expectation, a perception that somebody has built up about this, situation. Now what actually happens is the flight's 2 hours late, so the guy reaches to the airport a bit later, has had some hassles in the immigration, another hour delay. The person, the colleague who was supposed to pick the person up, said that now, look, now it's dinner time. So, it's best that we take you for dinner first, and then we'll drop you to the airport. We have an early morning meeting in the morning. So, let's quickly grab a bite and then get to the hotel, and then you can, rest for the next day. They go for a quick bite. Through this process, the mobile phone is not working, and there's no way that this person can actually send a WhatsApp, and this wife at home is waiting for this call to happen, that my husband's going to call me and tell me that, but he's stuck in such situations where he's not had the opportunity to call back or basically say to the wife. Now he gets to the hotel, that's when he is able to charge the phone gets charged, and basically he then realizes that, at this time it is 4 o'clock in the morning. If I call my wife right now, she may actually be, her sleep may be disturbed. So I don't want to do that. The kids might be sleeping with her as well, or she might be with the kids. The kids might get up. That'll disturb their sleep. So I will, first thing in the morning, I will send her a WhatsApp, which is going to be midday, in Pakistan. Now he has been thinking about the wife. He has actually been in a situation where he's not been able to. But what's happening back home in Pakistan? You know what? He doesn't care about me. He should have sent me a WhatsApp the moment he landed, not realizing the fact that probably the mobile isn't working or whatever the situation is, not realizing the fact that, there is something going on in the background, and the expectations that they had, that I should have been called and been told that everything is fine, I've reached, I'm back in the hotel, did not happen. All the thoughts that this gentleman had about the wife, not her sleep not being disturbed, you know, डाउन द ड्रेन. इसको मैं उर्दू में इस तरीके से समझाऊंगा. Larissa, this person who's asked the question said, please, explain this in Urdu. In very simple terms, हम अपने लोगों से एक्सपेक्टेशन रखते हैं. मैं जब किसी को कॉल करूं, उस वक्त वो फोन उठा ले. अगर आप लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस रिलेशनशिप में हैं और आपको नहीं पता कि उस वक्त दैट पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल, वो इंसान किस हालत में है, काम पे है, मीटिंग में है, फोन नहीं उठा सकता, फोन की बैटरी डाउन है, या जो भी सिचुएशन है जिसकी वजह से उसने आपका फोन नहीं उठाया, कि एसएमएस का जवाब नहीं दिया या व्हाट्सएप का जवाब नहीं दिया, हमारी एक्सपेक्टेशन ये होती है कि जैसे ही हम फोन करें, फोन का जवाब मिल जाए. जैसे ही हम जो है वो किसी को व्हाट्सएप करें, व्हाट्सएप का जवाब मिल जाए. और इस एक्सपेक्टेशन की वजह से रिलेशनशिप्स गो, दे गो नॉट, वो अब गलत जगह पे चली जाती हैं, बिकॉज हमारी एक्सपेक्टेशंस, एंड जब उस एक्सपेक्टेशन के ऊपर कोई दूसरा आदमी जवाब नहीं देता, या दूसरा शख्स जो है वो नहीं उतर के आता, तो हमें लगता है कि जी रिलेशनशिप में गड़बड़ है. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. इसीलिए द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ एम्पैथी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, जहां हम अपने आप को दूसरे के शूज में डाल के सोचते हैं कि ओके, क्या वजह है कि दूसरे ने जवाब नहीं दिया, क्या वजह. और अगर ये कॉन्स्टेंटली होते चले जा रहा है, देन यू कैन से कि जी देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग. बट अगर ये वन ऑफ इंसिडेंट है, उसको हम अपने फिर, लरेसा वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट, लरेसा भी बात कर रही थी कि हम उसको अपने सबकॉन्शियस में बिठा लेते हैं, उसको अपनी रियलिटी बना के रख लेते हैं. सो नेक्स्ट टाइम भी, अगर ऐसा नहीं भी है, एक 5 मिनट की डिले भी आती है, तो हमें लगता है देखा, पिछली दफा भी फोन नहीं उठाया था, इस दफा भी व्हाट्सएप का जवाब नहीं दिया, ये एक आदत बन गई है. सो हमारी रियलिटी बदल जाती है सिर्फ.
And there is another thing, can I say to you? You
Yes,
can tell
yes,
her as
Larish.
well.
Yeah.
Is the fact of generalization that we women
There you go.
mostly do,
Generalization.
is oh, it happens one time and then it's the whole life that is like that. You've always
बस यही
been
हो रहा
like
है.
this. and then it will go throughout your life, rather than
This is
actually it's a one event. And appreciate if the person does something, instead of generalizing that the person made this mistake and you put it on his shoulder forever, is to appreciate even the little thing of the change that they make, and realize that it's an event, it's not the series of events, and have it nagged on the person throughout their life, you know. As you
And the
said, for
problem is never
instance,
ours. And the problem is never ours. The problem is
no,
always somebody else's. We are not never
that's
wrong.
yes.
again,
No,
yeah, it's again the,
Rehan and Larissa, I want
Yeah,
to add one thing here, because this
yeah,
is something which is a very, very common thing that I face in my coaching sessions here. Husbands are travel. Let's say a lot of Pakistanis, their wives are here. Husbands are in Dubai or in in other parts of the world, and the wives are living out here. Now, the wives have the complaint that the wives have is, uh, sir, they can call their mother, they can call their brother, they cannot call me. Why is that? and and and
yeah,
and and, and remember one thing, they are living in a joint family system where, as part of the culture here in Pakistan, people do not realize that as part of the culture, we first call the eldest in the house, and then we can talk to others. But this
and Ali,
is,
that's
and
this is again back to
based on
what
that, yeah, no, but I'm saying
Larissa was
based
talking
on
about
that,
egos. Egos.
absolutely. And based on that, they generalize saying, this is why he does not love me.
Yes.
Cause, effect,
or there's
and
another possibility as well, is that because she nags all the time on him when
uh,
he calls, that he doesn't want to call her first because she will drop him down, because she's nagging and complaining and, like, victimizing. This is again at effect. The only way relationship can work is when we are both of us working on the relationship, and we stop this victim position, and start, like, appreciating the partner rather than wanting him to change the partner, accepting the way he is or she is, maybe make some tweaking. We cannot make revolution of a person as well. So what are
And
we
be empathetic,
expecting?
Larissa. Be empathetic. Why is this person saying what he's saying, doing what he's doing? Empathy is something that we don't practice at all.
No, because we
And
are
because we are
looking
not
only
taught,
from our
because Rehan,
side.
we are not taught empathy in any school, in any college, in any university. Nobody teaches you empathy. What we are taught there is competition. I use a word.
Yes.
When I came to Pakistan, I started something. I was the first master trainer of body language here. So I started literally producing, I would say, a lot of body language trainers, and now I can say there are many who have studied from me.
chai,
So when I
chai.
started that, people said to me, oh, but you are making your own competition. I said, I'm sorry, I am making complementation. The difference between a competition and complementation is what we need to understand. That if I am helping out someone, he's going to compliment me, and I'm going to compliment him, and that's how the
The
chain
ins-
will go.
the insecurities because of ego.
Yes.
That's right.
Is one of the
That's
biggest problems. And
pride
I think that
and ego.
absolutely. And there's another interesting question David has, and I think he wants Larissa to
Yes.
take this one. He's from Dubai. Larissa,
And he wanted to talk
yeah,
to you, David, or he send me a message on privately as well. How do we
yeah.
deal with the mental trauma of job loss during this time with pandemic? A lot of people are depressed, self-destructive. Very good question, actually, David. Excellent
So
question.
this is definitely what is going to make things even worse, because we are in a catastrophizing thinking mechanism, where we see only that that's it. We're dead. We will not find another job. This is going to be the end of the world. So the more we're getting these racing, racing thoughts of fear and anxiety, and keep on, dwelling on them, we will not definitely not attract any sun or light in our traumas. Many people are losing their job. I'm not saying we are not losing their job. We are in a moment of great change. People are losing their jobs, and it's a moment of acceptance, and maybe sometime to be as well waiting, having how you say, appreciate the waiting stage, and use it to grow by self-developing yourself, grow by taking care of yourself in this moment. Do little things that you couldn't do when you were overwhelmed or overworked, and keep on searching, but with a different mindset. Because if you are in the mindset of the catastrophe, this is I will not find another job. It's the end of the world. What do you expect will happen? What are you going to attract? Or what energy or what frequency of energy are you throwing out in your universe and the opportunity that you will attract? Even if you go on an interview, you are so demoralized and destructive with your mindset that you will not have the job before even you do the interview. Oh, I'm not going to get it. They will not even take me. It's impossible. So you start losing before even going. And that definitely will not help in such situations. So resilience, again, is accepting that this is a tough moment for everybody. Many people are losing their jobs. It is tough today. It's a tough, challenging moment. So how I'm going to take this tough, challenging moment, learn and grow from it. Maybe it's the time I need to work on my thinking, because definitely, David, you need to work on your thinking at the moment to be able to find a job. Because if you are in the catastrophizing mood, in the generalizing mood, in the impossible mood, the belief of it's finished, then definitely you will not see the light in order to fight and keep standing and cope with the situation until you find a job. So that is, in my opinion, some
And
little things that he can do. I don't know what you think, guys, and what if you have other
I would
proposals.
like to add one thing before Rehan. I request you, because this is something which is very very close to my heart. You know, in this pandemic time, uh, actually talking about pandemic, we will move to the epidemic later on after this one, because that's something which I am really excited to see, because I can see that at the back of Larissa. So anyways, at this pandemic time there were three cases that were very known people to me. Actually, I brought them on air with me here as well. The whole media presented them as victims. One guy is an engineer who is running a mobile after being a mechanical engineer. He during this pandemic he lost his job, so he took a bike and he put some tools in his bike with and some cleaning kit, and he went home to home fixing cars and cleaning, and fixing the bikes and cars. The other guy, he was a professor, and he was teaching physics. Pandemic happened, schools, universities closed, no salaries were coming in. He opened up a shop where he's selling fries, French fries. The third guy, he is a cricket coach, a very very is celebrated cricket coach, and he is running Uber now. All these three people, when the media presented them, and a lot of people who forwarded, who contacted in my circle, they were like, oh, see, this is zulm, this is bad, that at this these kind of people are have to do this menial job. For God's sake, I said these are my heroes, because the best, or the other side of the coin is that this pandemic made them entrepreneurs. Why don't we look at like this? Why do we have to be always or looking and favor people and events as a victim? I tell you, from the day this pandemic happened, alhamdulillah, my business has multifold increased because of you people. That with you, this is my business of spreading knowledge, and we have been able to do that. Otherwise I would have never been able to do this, probably, if there was the same conventional method. So David, I would always say, my 2 cents before Rehan adds to it. My 2 cents would be, this is a time of opportunity. Find out your strength rather than your weakness.
Focus on the weakness.
Rehan.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you guys have covered most of it. I'm just going to basically say, you know, there is a circle of influence, David. There are things that you can
Absolutely.
influence. There are things that you cannot influence. A
Okay.
job loss is something that you cannot influence, right? Now you have a choice. Something has happened which is outside your circle of influence, the pandemic, the situation of your organization because of which you've lost a job. But then now it is your choice whether you want to cry over this, or you basically want to be resilient and find an action plan, or map out an action plan. What is it that you're going to do to come back into a situation where you have a job? Yeah. So I think that's how you can overcome what you just spoke about. That a lot of people are becoming depressed and self-destructive. Why should one be self-destructive on because of the situation which is out of their circle of influence? So what is within your circle of influence is what are you going to do next? How can you actually learn from the situation, find a job, be patient about finding the right job, and basically, or like Ali said, be on an entrepreneurial route, or basically whatever solution that you want to find.
Can
So
I add?
the try,
Can I add
yeah,
something on what you
yeah,
Yes,
said,
sure,
please, please,
Rehan?
please.
yeah, please,
In this particular moment, mainly, this is where you need to be in a good circle of connection. In the sense, I'm saying most of the people are expats and they are working abroad, far from their families and from their loved ones. And it's a tough time to be on your own, facing such huge challenges when you lose your job, and this is how you live by working, right? It is our most important thing to be able to sustain ourselves. This is where you need to be surrounded by people who will be giving you insights, helping you out with a good thinking, and definitely not dwelling with people who are going to be crying on your shoulders, and you're going to be doing the complaint circle of those who lost their jobs, because this is where you're going to definitely drain.
and let
Toxic
me ask,
people, remove.
let me, if you can actually answer this question, David. Let me ask you another question. What would be more traumatic for you? The job loss, of course, it's a traumatic, situation. It's how you basically bounce back from the situation, or actually being, God forbid, infected by the virus. What would you take as
or
more traumatic?
or I will just add one more thing, or any of your loved ones at on the deathbed, probably, god forbid.
We need to
So I
minimize now things, not catastrophize. This is the
absolutely.
moment where we need to focus on the little things that we don't see and we take for granted.
Our brains,
Even,
yeah. Go ahead, Larissa.
no, say. So go ahead.
Our brains, we say, are velcro of negativity. They attract negativity first. So whatever little problem we're facing seems to us as if it is a mountain of problems. But if you actually compare it with the blessings that you have, you will realize that there's still your family is safe, you're safe, you're not, God forbid, being infected or exposed to being infected. So I think this probably is a blessing in disguise for you, maybe to be less exposed to the virus, or even finding a better job. So like we just said, you've got to basically do what is within the circle of your influence. What are you going to do next? How is it that you're going to find a new job? What is that new job that you're going to look for? And maybe that is
And use
the job that you
empowering
always wanted to do, but
affirmations.
yeah, because of the fear, you were not able to let go of this job, the fear of not having a job. But here's an opportunity for you to go and do certain things that you may have wanted to do. So
Okay, he
we
has
take a lot
replied,
of,
David.
yeah.
Sorry, David has replied back, because the updation is taking a little bit of time. Yes, it's here
Yeah.
now. His reply is on
So
the
he's saying
screen with
wonderful
us.
advice and thank you. More traumatic would be being affected by the virus. So that's exactly what I was talking about. That there are things that are more important for you than the job, which is your health or your
Value.
family's health. So what is it that you prioritize? What is it that you value more? As long as those are not compromised, I don't think it should be traumatic. And even if that is compromised, you then need to see what whether it's been compromised because it is outside your circle of influence or within your circle of influence, and what is that you could do internally. So what happens to us is that if I cut my finger, I'll keep crying over that I've cut my finger, completely taking it for granted that the rest of my fingers are still there. This is going to be better and I'm still going to be able to use it. In that incident I could have actually chopped the finger off. So
Rehan, you know
it could
what
have
as
been
well is
worse.
very important is the narrative that he's going to use, or people who are following us are using at this particular moment. What
Yeah,
are you feeding yourself as a story? Oh my God.
absolutely.
It's a,
Yeah.
so instead of
Again, the
dwelling on a
victim.
story that
Are
is a
you?
drama or like a horror movie, why don't you make it a movie of hope and faith, and say to yourself every day when you wake up all day long, I have faith, I am healthy, I am happy. And this helps as well you move using positive affirmations rather than hitting yourself every single second with
Absolutely.
bad narration, bad wording on yourself, and be kind to yourself in this moment. This is
And I'd like to end this with an example. In the organization I work, the regular complaint that people had was that we sit too late. There is no work-life
We
balance.
discussed.
We were sitting very late. There are late sittings happening and so on and so forth. We don't get to spend too much time with the family. Now, remember in Pakistan, especially the concept of working from home, the concept of remote teams, the concept of flexible timings isn't as mature as it is in different parts of the world. Uh, so here was an opportunity that they were asked to basically work from home, so they have the opportunity to spend more time with the family. But the realization wasn't there. But now when we go back and ask question that you always complained about having more time, you're not being able to get enough time to spend with the family. Now this situation is actually giving you that opportunity to spend more time with the family. Has that improved your relationship? And they've said yes. So what they have gained is something that they completely ignored, but they were crying over the fact that what, we don't know if this is going to get back to normal, we don't know if our jobs are going to remain, we don't know if we're going to get back to work or not. So we were, like I said, our brains are velcro of negativity. We focus more on what's going wrong in our lives rather than basically taking a step back and saying, all right, what is going right in our life, and is that a bigger value than what we basically have, than what has gone wrong. And if you start to weigh, you will realize that, man, for example, health, if you're healthy, that's better for you, that's more important for you. So that is how you basically have to weigh what's more
Okay.
important and what's not, and
Uh,
overcome this traumatic situation.
Rehan, this is excellent, and I think Larissa is having a little bit of an issue with her audio. So I will just first of all let me tell you guys, this is today one of
It's
the
10 already,
happiest
man.
days. Yeah, I know, I know. It's one of the happiest Thursdays. You know why? Larissa, we can hear you, so don't worry.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
hear
yeah.
you. Okay, so why? Because see, David has said something which has made me the most happiest person, and I want to read this comment from David. He says, "I can sway towards all the points being brought up, and truly enough, it is pushing me towards thinking about the next step and entrepreneurship and discovering new things." Excellent,
Brilliant,
David.
brilliant. That's the
If
approach.
Absolutely. And if today one person has actually understood that, and that is a catalyst. Now, David, you are going to be the catalyst for another David or another Larissa or another anybody else or another Ali. You can actually snowball this effect.
Absolutely.
And
And I think stay
we are
connected with us. And as and when you progress and you come out of this situation and basically are back, on in a happy state of mind, come back and share the story with us.
absolutely, that will be amazing, actually. Yes, that's true. Okay. I would, this is the last question, Rehan, we will take because we have already crossed
Yeah, and we've
the
not even
time.
gotten to the happy pandemic.
Yeah, we have not
Happy
gone
demic.
into the heavy pandemic. So let's just, Ryan, would you like to take this question from Kenny's Fatma?
I don't know. I'm not able to clearly understand is if some kind of situation shocked us and we stop talking in trust in our responsibility, kids and others. How can we concentrate again in our life? Again, I think, and I'll answer this in Urdu because uh, uh, you know the last time she asked me, देखें, रोते रहना, विक्टिम बन जाना इज नॉट द सोल्यूशन. जो चीज हो गई है उससे हम क्या सीख के आगे बढ़ते हैं, उस वो इम्पोर्टेंट है. उस पे अगर हम सोचते रहेंगे, उसी के बारे में रोते रहेंगे, उसी के बारे में जो है वो अ, बार अपने आप को कोसेंगे और जो है वो उसी पे कंसंट्रेट करते रहेंगे तो हम आगे नहीं बढ़ पाएंगे. हमें हमें ढूंढना है सोल्यूशन. व्हाट इज इट दैट वी हैव लर्नड फ्रॉम द सिचुएशन? उस सिचुएशन से हमने सीखा क्या और उसको आगे कैसे लेके चले? और उसकी सबसे बड़ी एलिमेंट जो लरिसा ने पहले वो किया था, फॉरगिव. अगर कोई ऐसा इंसिडेंट हुआ है जिसमें आपको शॉक लगा है, अगर आप एम्पैथेटिकली उनकी शूज में जाके सोचें, उनकी जगह पे जाके सोचें और आपको रियलाइज हो कि नहीं, इसमें कंप्लीटली उसकी गलती नहीं थी, कहीं मेरी भी गलती थी या दोनों की गलती थी, और उसको फिर फॉरगिव करके, माफ करके आगे बढ़ें, तो यू विल नॉट बी गोइंग बैक टू दैट सिचुएशन. आप बार-बार उस चीज पे जाके और अपनी लाइफ में आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. देखिए, इट्स अबाउट आगे बढ़ना. एक पत्थर अगर सड़क पे आप चलते हुए जा रहे हैं, सामने पड़ा हुआ है, तो आपके पास दो चीजें हैं कि आप कहें ओहो आगे तो
पे
पत्थर
आप
पड़ा हुआ
चलते
है,
हुए
मैं
जा
यहाँ
रहे
से.
हैं, सामने पड़ा
मैं
हुआ है, तो आपके पास दो चीजें हैं कि आप कहें वो आगे तो
Sorry,
पत्थर
I
है,
think
Larissa,
Larissa, if I can.
Larissa,
Yeah.
yeah, Larissa is Larissa. Wait 1 second, 1 second.
Sorry. one of you have to turn your speakers off because I'm getting a feedback.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe
Yeah,
Larissa.
yeah, yeah.
तो वो पत्थर सड़क पे पड़ा हुआ है. अब आपके पास दो ऑप्शन है. वो सामने पत्थर पड़ा हुआ है, मैं तो इससे आगे नहीं जा सकता या नहीं जा सकती और पलट जाए, या आप कहे कि जी मैं इस आगे क्या करूं, इस पत्थर को किस तरीके से यहाँ से निकालूं या किस तरीके से इससे आगे बढ़ूं. So और so that is how we basically can overcome this situation जहां पर बार बार उस जगह पे ना जाए. Can overcome this situation.
Okay. Rehan, I think Larissa is definitely having some issue with there. Last question to you, actually, this has been to you by Hira Mansoor Mahnoor. What is the right way to respond those who are pushing you back in department in spite of the fact that you are giving 100% to your work, but they are not admiring it?
देखिए
So
100%
this is definitely the last question.
100% किसके हिसाब से? My question is 100% according to who? And I think Ali, if you remember, we were discussing this in one of the previous
Yes.
sessions as well. कि performance appraisal, when a performance appraisal happens in an organization, everybody is upset about it because they think they should have gotten a 5 star, but they actually get a 4 star. Right? इसमें देखें इसमें गलती
Yes.
दोनों जगह से होती है. एक हमारी expectation, हमारी perception about our work at 100%, at a lot of times is wrong. We think we are performing at 100%. Have we actually communicated with the person, whoever's pushing you, to understand कि उनकी expectation क्या है? So we don't try and understand their expectation, and we keep basically doing certain things expecting कि जी we know what they want and what we're doing is at 100% performance. Whereas there is a disconnect because the expectation that the other person has, and it's responsibility of both the people for me to understand what is the expectation of my manager, and for the manager to communicate what he expects from you and what he thinks is 100% in terms of your performance. So you've got to go back and open those communication channels, and then when you say that, in spite of the fact that you're giving 100% to your work, but they are not admiring it, we don't know whether it is 100% to their requirements or 100% to what we have set as a requirement for
As
the
a
job.
requirement. Excellent. Excellent, Rehan. And David, thank you very much. We will wait for your feedback. You can give it to Larissa, or my WhatsApp is also there. Larissa, we would like to hear about the epidemic, and then we want to close it because I know I told you it will be 45 minutes or more so, but we have already crossed an hour. So,
I'd actually, Ali,
epidemic to Larissa.
actually, I would actually. There's a comment that I see. I think Rai Ghazanfar has said "rattling lady," and I think he's referring to one of the, the viewers who's asked questions. I think they get one of the ways that you should be, that'll make you happy in life, especially in these times, in these Corona times where no one is safe, is not being judgmental. We don't know. Again, we
Absolutely.
spoke about empathy earlier. Please, Rai, I think as humans, one thing that we have learned to do immediately is being judgmental about. So if Larissa is saying something based on our perception, again, not reality, our perception, we've judged Larissa as a certain way. We judge Ali, we judge Rehan because Rehan has said this. We judge Rehan as a particular thing. So I think uh, not a rattling lady, but you know what? I think let's not be judgmental, because when we are becoming judgmental, we are actually enabling negativity in our minds. So today we're being
Absolutely.
judgmental about somebody else. Tomorrow we will, that negativity that's seated in our mind will always remain, and everything that we do in our life will then basically be driven by that judgment, driven by that negativity that behind in my mind. और हम एक पिछले सेशन में
Absolutely.
we were talking about this. Please ensure the communication, the language that you use, the brain actually believes in the words that you use. So when you use negative language in your everyday life, the brain starts to store that vocabulary here, and every time there is danger, that negativity comes out. So in your everyday life,
Absolutely.
in your regular conversations, ensure that don't use any negative words. Don't use, and I keep saying this to Ali as well sometimes. In these sessions as well, I think there's a couple of situations where we've picked up on people and said, please don't use negative, because the brain is storing that as vocabulary, building your perception, which you believe is your reality.
Absolutely, Rehan. And Sayyida Durdana, yes, being positive is the core issue. how to be positive is very, very simple. Just live in now. That's my simple advice. And Larissa, I would, and this is one of the things which we are going to enjoy now. Happy Demic. I am excited to hear about Happy Demic. And Larissa, I would, and this is one of the things which we are going to enjoy now. Happy Demic. I am excited to hear about Happy Demic.
So you hear me?
Yes, Larissa,
Yes.
you have to mute your YouTube for now. Just mute your
Yeah, audio,
YouTube.
because we're getting feedback.
Do you hear me?
Yes, so
We
you
can
can
hear
keep
you.
talking,
Yes.
and we'll communicate with you
So
using sign language when you're
Epidemic
happy.
is about, as I said, an autobiography of my life, all the events that I went through, traumatic events, and what are the options or schools of thoughts I used in order to cope with the situation and surmount them and become the woman I am today and deliver the message I am doing. From a corporate mentality person that before, in the corporate business, your private stuff is your private stuff, to moving into saying to the world what really happened to you in terms of events and help others build on these and get to overcome their own issues using mind, using emotions, using your body, and using as well all the tools that I have applied in my life within the past 20 years of expertise are in this book. So why happy-demic? Because I think the world needs a pandemic of happiness rather than a pandemic of fear. So that's
Excellent,
happy-demic,
Larissa.
coming soon by the
Excellent.
September.
Excellent. September. So we are waiting for this book to come. And Nida Shahid says she loves your smile, Larissa. So stay blessed. God bless you, because this is
Ali,
epidemic has to be
I
spreaded.
would take this as a message for you and me as well, that we've got to work on our smile, man.
I guess so. This is more important. But Rehan, we we cannot, even no matter how we work, how much we work, she will always be taking the advantage because she is the epidemic lady.
Absolutely.
Larissa, your messages are coming here. Okay, you can put on your YouTube again, Larissa. Can you hear me?
If you want to hear
She's
us.
have Yeah. If you want to hear us, use your mobile. Use your mobile, Larissa. Let me show you
Yeah,
this. Use
I
your
think
mobile.
the battery of her earpods has died, so the only option she has
Yes.
is through the speaker.
See, Rehan, this is for you message, by the way.
So
I have to work on my smile now.
yes,
The
but
only
Ali,
one
I
left.
think if we're concluding, I would actually like to give a few tips, which is what is important. We always talk about leaving people with certain tips and
Yes,
tools for them to go back and practice. So I think if we're getting to a close, I would actually like to do that so we can actually move on.
absolutely, absolutely.
So there's
Please.
a slide that
So
I've put up there.
I will put it up there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now basically this talks about the 6 domains of resilience. Vision. Larissa was talking about this, and I think those stories I can connect over here. Larissa was talking about having a purpose in life, having the values in life. Unless you have a purpose in life, you will not be able to become resilient. And I'll tell you how and why. The reason behind that is, what is it that you want to get back to? If that is not defined, which is what your purpose is, then what will you fight for? So you're in a situation, there's something bad that has happened, it has put you down. What do you want to get back to? That is defined by the purpose, so, or the vision that you have about you. So that is the first and most important dimension that needs to be there for you to become resilient. The other one is composure. We spoke about that in the previous sessions as well, that the brain does not activate or does not work at an optimal level when it is not composed. When there is any sort of a
Absolutely.
stress, you basically shut the non-dominant side of your brain. You've got to be composed and you've got to be patient about it. That is the second domain of becoming resilient. Unless you are composed, you will keep going back to the traumatic moments that you have faced, which has actually put you down. Larissa was talking about mindfulness activities that she did, after the accident. She was talking about, the inner thinking, the quiet time, and all of that. That's all to build composure in yourself for you to become resilient. Third is reasoning. And I think Larissa's stories are a classic example. If we were to just basically start linking all of these six dimensions to what Larissa has been talking about, she spoke about reasoning. Why is it that this has happened to me? Once again, what is it that I am correct? Maybe if I'm, if you want to add in, Larissa, what is it that I did not do right from the second incident to the third incident? What is the reason behind me being in the same situation? And again, going inwards to understand and giving herself a reason, or yourself a reason, for you to become resilient. The third is health. That is very important. You
Very
cannot be resilient unless you are healthy, unless you're sleeping well, unless you basically feel healthy. You cannot be resilient. The third is tenacity, persistence. There is no guarantee that in your action plan, and I think I'll bring David's situation over here. David basically said, lost a job, traumatic situation, how do you come out of it? And then he said, you know what, I agree, I will work on an action plan. The chances are that the action plan that you put forward may not work for 1 month or two
absolutely.
months or 3 months. Your persistence in making sure that you keep going back to the action plan, doing things right, reevaluating it, going back and doing it is important. So persistence and tenacity is very important for you to become resilient. And the third is collaboration. Collaboration, I would again link back to what Larissa was talking about, that you've got to surround yourself with the right mindset of the people, the right mindset people. You have to ensure that the people that are around you will collaborate with you and work with you in bringing you out of that situation, instead of coming back and saying, oh man, you lost your job, so sad. This is, I understand your pain. They put a silver lining to the problem that you're in. So collaborating with the right kind of people is very important. These are the six domains of resilience I actually wanted to touch upon, and finally leave people with very simple 3 or 4 tips, which basically will cover a very simple point on how do you actually increase your resilience. The first one is reframe. What Larissa was talking about, what I was talking about, was reframing our mind. Unlearning and relearning, unlearning things that we were doing initially, and relearning the new ways of doing things. There was definitely something wrong in the way we were doing things, because of which we came across that roadblock. So we've got to reframe our mind. We have to go back, unlearn, relearn. The other is get enough sleep. Our brains keep losing its power, every day, when we don't sleep right and we don't sleep on time. Sleep is very important for you to be resilient. If you want your brain to work at an optimal level and be able to reframe, and I think we did a sleeping activity last time, and we gave people a
Yes.
challenge to improve on their sleeping. So I think if they were to practice that, they'll improve that. The third is find. I'm sorry, I have to put my glasses on. I'm getting old, man. Find,
Yeah,
you know,
see, and it's not only me.
yeah, you've got to basically do mindfulness. The substitute for sleep that is talking about is mindfulness. Your brain needs to regenerate itself, your muscles need to regenerate itself when you are actually sleeping, but your brain needs to be in a peaceful state of mind, and that can only happen when you practice things like yoga or mindfulness. And I think if we were to bring people back to our culture, I think the best way of mindfulness is praying. You get opportunity to do that 5 times a day. 10 minutes into 5, 50 minutes is all it takes. So you do an hour of yoga or an hour of mindfulness, or you basically do 50 minutes of praying with complete concentration. That's your best mindfulness exercise. Or basically you can understand how mindfulness works. There's a lot of other courses out there free available for you to learn how to become more mindfulness. And the fourth, somebody was talking about here as well, the power of positivity. But when we talk about positivity, I would again remind you of the Stockdale paradox, that positivity is not just being blindly positive about things will change, everything is going to become better, and we will be in the right situation. Positivity, the first step towards positivity is understanding and accepting your situation, creating an action plan, and then hoping that things are going to be in the right direction and things are going to be better for us. So I think I would like to leave people with these tips, that these 6 domains is what they need to focus on to become resilient, and then these 4 ways to practice that. And practice makes your habit. You will start to redevelop your pathways in the brain. Your neural activity will actually start to strengthen that. And the example I give basically about this is like, you basically are going on a, and she's showing, what is that? Champions are made in
I'm
training. Of course, they made in training. Champions are not made in the game. They basically are made out of the training that they do. You know, uh,
absolutely.
so I think, and I'd like basically Larissa to end this, but I'll end this with what I was saying. Uh, your brain, think of it like a ground where there is nothing. What you sow in that ground is what the brain is going to give you as a perception or as a reality. You sow seeds of flower, your brain is going to look at things positively. You sow seeds of weeds, or you don't take care of your regular thoughts, it'll basically be a sort of a bushy, uh, uncontrollable weed that will grow in your brain. And more importantly, for you to develop the pathways, she was talking about training. What does training do? Or what does when we talk about neural pathways, what does it do? All it does is strengthens and makes it a habit. For example, if you're actually going out on a road and suddenly there is a ground, you basically would go through that ground finding this shortcut. Today it'll just be a dirt track. It'll start to become a dirt track, and the more you use that track, it then starts to become a proper pathway. That's exactly how our brains operate. So when you practice more and more and more and more, your resilience becomes stronger, your habits become your behavior, and you can be the change that you want to be.
Excellent, Rehan. Very well put. Larissa, I'm going to put your mic on again so that you can do your conclusion, and then we'll wrap it up. And before that, viewers, I apologize that we have taken more of your time, but this is for your benefit. So I hope you will forgive us for that. Larissa, I'm going to put your mic on. Your time, but this is for your benefit. So I hope you will forgive us for that. Larissa, I'm going to put your mic on. Your time, but this is for your
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for this amazing session. I enjoyed every second of it, and this is what happiness is all about, is enjoying the moment. Bring back your attention to the present. What is happening right now? Right now, we are 3 passionate people sending you a huge amount of positivity, happiness, happydemically, and choose to be happy and change your lenses if they are not working for you. That's my message. Bless you all. It was great to be with you, and I hope to see you very soon. All my
Thank you,
love.
Thank
Larissa.
you.
Good
Thank you
seeing you
very
after
much.
2.5 years. And I think like Ali mentioned that out of situations, out of adversity comes in a lot of good things. I think this is a great thing that has happened. That after 2.5 years, we've been able to connect and do a session together. In a lot of good things. I think this is a
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Larissa, before I say my last words, I want you to please pick that book in the back and show us the cover. I love the picture on that cover. Please, can you do that? I want you to please pick that book in the back and show us the cover. I love the picture on that cover. Please, can you do that? The other one. The other one. In the back and show us the cover. I love the picture on that cover. Please, can you do that? Yeah. The other one. The other one. In the back and show us the cover. I love the picture on that cover. Please, can you do that? The other one. The other one. In the back and show us the cover. Viewers, you know why I requested Larissa to do that? By wearing these kind of glasses, the ones that are going to fit your eyes and your taste, by doing those kinds of acts with your what do you call the smiley faces, you actually bring alive the child in you. One of the biggest issues that I have come across in dealing with my clients is, and a statement that I always say, in life, we must do things seriously, but never become serious. We have started to, as we grow older, we start becoming serious rather than doing things seriously. and that is the biggest stumbling block of us to be happy. So, with this advice from my side, whatever you do seriously, but don't be serious
And
because a
whoever
happy
tells you
performer.
and please go back and tell your children, if you actually, and this is something that we've been, from childhood we keep hearing from our elders: be sober. You've got to be a sober personality. You've got to be a sober personality. Sober does not mean serious. Sober means somebody who talks sense and makes sense.
Yes,
That is what sober means.
absolutely,
It does not mean
absolutely,
serious. You don't have a straight
absolutely.
face. Don't have that, because your body is sending signal to your brain. So if you basically, put your chest out and say, you know what, I am strong, your brain is actually going to put you in that mindset, and you will start behaving with people in that manner. You will start to be
Absolutely.
that alpha person who will be there to crush people whenever you get an opportunity. So be very careful
Absolutely.
of, don't confuse words.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing when I'm giving my tips as well. The other tip which I'm going to give is that when you, whatever you do, I have never ever killed the child in me. I am almost 50 years old now, inshallah,
But
very, very soon.
you'll kill the child in me, Ali, because it's raining. I've heard it's raining in Karachi, and I think it's thunderstorm, and the child in me is actually wanting to go and play in rain.
Yes, and that's what I exactly happening outside mine as well, and that's exactly what my son is standing here, and he's waiting for his dad to play his ludo and go out in the rain. So viewers,
Exactly.
thank you
My daughter,
very
my
much for.
daughter, my daughter got a new cycle, and she was actually on those, with the support wheels, but this time she's basically got a cycle which is without those support wheels. So I promised her that, once I'm done with this session, I'll be spending time with you and making you learn how to, ride that cycle, and then she
Right,
loves
that
rain
cycle.
as well. So before
So
the kids kill us, and the kids in us are not able to enjoy this, and Larissa, you would know our desperation for rain, living in Dubai for so long.
I would
you
love to
know,
be under your rain, guys, now because it can refresh us. If I can add to what you said, and that's it, is look for a smiley wherever you are. And if you don't find it, draw it virtually,
absolutely.
mentally, around you with a pen. And this is something I remember since I was a child. I always did. The first design I did is the smiley, the eye and the smile. And actually, everywhere you will see me, I always have smileys wherever I am. And if I don't find them, I draw them. I draw them with manicure, even when I'm doing my manicure, whatever. Just by the fact of seeing a smile in front of you, it can as well, enlighten your day and gives you a little push. So,
I would like to, Ali, take another couple of minutes. I know the power
Yeah,
of
I
what
know.
she
We,
just
we, we,
told
we
you.
have to so much give.
We can go
Yes,
on, man. We can go on and on and on. The power of what you just said, Larissa, is, I can vouch for it. In the organization that I came in, we developed this for every employee. Can you see
I
this?
had one. I had one.
amazing.
It's a
Love it.
smiley face. Yeah, we
Yeah.
developed this for every employee. Now there was two reasons behind this. Everybody was wearing this as a pin. Yeah, so it was reminding them every day when they were changing clothes as well, that they've got to carry the smile with them right
That's
next
right.
to their heart. Secondly, every individual was looking at the other individual, and this would get spotted. So when you look at a smiley face, and you know that for a fact that the happy chemicals start to take over, and it brings you back into that happy state of mind. So what you just mentioned, look for these kind of badges. There's so many out there. Keep wearing those badges. Keep it right next to you.
Look at
You
this
know,
one
yeah, yeah,
in my
absolutely,
name. So like
absolutely,
this, I will never forget it. Even my name is a smiley.
yeah,
So wherever I am, I
Absolutely.
have my smiley. Wherever I
absolutely.
go, I see it.
And
People, and people will
and I
make
tell
fun
you,
of you. People made fun of me when
yes.
I was wearing a smiley
Oh
T-shirt,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
basically,
yeah, yeah.
so what? I mean,
I was going. I when I
you
go out when I go out nowadays, I go with that Corona cover, and they cover all and stuff, and I
Yeah.
hear, oh, Mr. Corona is going. Oh, Mr. Okay, let them say what they have to say. I am happy the way I am, and that
again,
is my
Ali,
comfort zone.
what we covered in the first session: who has the remote control of your life?
Absolutely,
Who's the
If you
captain
don't,
on your
absolutely.
ship?
Absolutely. If you don't have that remote control in your hand, please go and grab it and keep it in your hand, because people
with your hand.
will will only keep driving you crazy using that remote control, and you won't be able to go in that right direction.
Yes,
So,
and Rehan, I'm gonna wrap it up now because I
yes,
have to
please.
wrap it up now because otherwise we will not stop. And viewers, first of all, thank you very much for being such a lovely and lively audience. You one of the comments was that it was a lively session today. I think it was because of the lively audience we had today. So your questions made it even better for us. So I really want to thank you. However, I do have the very good comment came, so I stopped. Go Corona, go clap your
Yeah,
hands.
no.
We
See,
clap our hands.
Ali, no, I wouldn't say go Corona, go. Corona, I think, has given us the opportunity to think again, to basically
No,
change the way we live in our life. I think its existence, even if it prolongs, it'll actually have a positive impact on the life of people. You know,
yeah, I know.
depends on how we take it.
So
We can cry about it,
yeah,
or so. Wrap up, please. I can keep
yeah.
going
So
on
so
now.
viewers, my request is, as much as you have enjoyed it,
We've
I
loved
don't
it.
always ask for sharing and anything, but do share this smile. This is something that is if I
Contagious,
make a caption, yeah, if I make a caption here of something which is really negative kind of a thing, then you
almost.
people will watch it, people will like to see it, people will share it. So please, this is what is to be contagious. Share the smiles which has given your smile on your face, and as much as you share, pray for us. We all
And be
need
there is
your
a
prayers.
there is a video that actually is an experiment, and I'll leave it with that. Go look for it on the YouTube, and Larissa is smiling because she knows that when it comes to happiness and spreading information and giving knowledge, I keep going on and on. There is a
We
video on
can't stop.
YouTube.
I
look
know.
look for it look for it and say, smiling, or laughter, contagious laughter in a bus. There is a very solid experiment, Larissa, you know that one, right? There's a very solid experiment. See that how just one person smiling, looking at the phone, converts the whole bus
I
who
know.
was that was depressed into the whole bus bursting into laughter. So,
Yes, and with that, be happy, be safe, enjoy your life, pray for us, and may Allah and bless you and God bless you all. And please be witness for all of us that we shared the knowledge to our best, whatever we had, and we need your prayers. Thank you very much, Larissa, for your time.
thank you for
Rehan, as
inviting me.
always,
Pleasure
thank you
being
so
with
thank
much.
you
you.
Be happy. Take care,
very much,
Ali. Take care, Larissa.
and thank you very much, viewers. Bye.
God bless
Assalamu
you.
alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Bye bye.